Good day, everyone. Is my happy energy too obvious? Well, that's because I'm trying not to mess with my immune system. I know you're probably curious right now how the immune system and anger are related with each other. Well, that's the reason why we are here. Before we start, I would like to introduce ourselves. I am Gicil Barbac, and my group mates are Abejuela and Princess Maghanoy. Welcome to our presentation on the relationship between anger and immune system status of Filipino adults. Don't forget to put a smile on your faces while watching this presentation. To start with, I'd like to first recall how the sad connection has been established. From the primitive years of discovering medicine, particularly during the peak of Hippocrates' theory on humorism, physiological and psychological elements were already thought to be closely connected. Strong emotions, especially negative ones like anger, can result in a huge amount of stress on the person experiencing it. It can alter physiological mechanisms and result in hormonal imbalance, immunity depletion, and shortened lifespan. Having said this, there are acute and chronic conditions that were identified to be influenced by stress. So now, how do we define anger? Why is its impact a huge factor in our overall health? Well, the emotional state of anger is quite common among humans. Statistically speaking, anger is experienced by an average adult about once a day. Think about it. Other people can get angry several times in a day, and those emotional responses will accumulate and cause undesirable effects on the immune system, especially if they are not controlled. They may decrease the system's ability to protect the body against external threats and invaders like bacteria, viruses, and toxins.
This study aims to achieve three main objectives, which are to recognize physiological responses in the immune system that are affected by anger, identify the immune system status of adults and its relation to anger, and lastly, encourage the audience to adopt effective assertive skills to increase life expectancy. For the participants, there are 10 participants in this study, and all of them are family members of the researchers who have ages ranging from 40 to 60 years old. They are chosen because they are the ones who are most likely to be stressed out, especially in this time of crisis, and also to avoid risking the health and safety of the household. As for the scale, there were two questionnaires used in this study. The first one is the clinical anger scale, and the second one is the immune status questionnaire. The clinical anger questionnaire is one that is created by Professor Snell in 1995 and is composed of 21 questions with four choices labeled A to D. This questionnaire would be very helpful in identifying which participants are chronically angry from those who are not. The other questionnaire that would benefit the research is the Immune Status Questionnaire. The ISQ is a short and practical scoring form and is useful for clinical practice and research requiring a quick screening of a participant's immune status of the past 12 months. It is composed of 7 questions that can be rated through a Likert scale, which consists of choices like never, sometimes, regularly, often, and always. For the design, we will be using correlation in order to identify its relationship with one another. And lastly, for the analysis, we've used the regression statistic to identify the Pearson's R that would tell us the strength of the relationship and the R value that would say if the relationship between the two variables is significant or not. This analysis of data was done using Excel. At this point, you might be very curious if this study has achieved positive or negative results. So now, after we gathered the data from our participants, it's time to discuss the results and observations.
The table seen on the screen summarizes the descriptive statistics and analysis results. As you can see, the value of the correlation coefficient, which is the multiple R, is 0.09, which is very close to 1 and has a positive sign. You know what this means? This indicates that there is a strong positive relationship between the variables of anger and immune system. That means that when the frequency of feeling angry increases, the vulnerability to diseases also increases, and vice versa. According to Takuche et al., if someone continues to be angry and this feeling intensifies, he or she is more prone to infections and viruses. Psychological stress brought by anger can change the concentration of leukocyte cytokines production, which are molecules that mediate the body's response to infection, just like common colds, and are also responsible for the release of cells associated with inflammation, just the same as with skin problems. Also, emotion is connected to our health behavior. When one is under extreme angry state, which equates to extreme stress, a person may resort to unhealthy habits that place them in a vulnerable state, thus at risk of diseases. Onto the next table, you can see that our significance F has a value of 0.001. Since it is less than 0.01, the data supports the study's hypothesis that a positive correlation does exist between the feelings of anger and the vulnerability of the immune system to diseases. In other words, this implies that when anger is frequently felt, the number of immune system related diseases also increases. You may wonder how being angry can cause such diseases, for as you may have assumed, this is just a mere emotion. But you should know by now that our health is linked closely with our emotions, that negative emotions can have bad effects, whereas positive feelings have beneficial effects. Behind the screen, you may still be doubting this claim of ours. So, in order to support this, we gathered another scientific evidence from past studies. We actually have many supporting research in our paper, but we can't put everything here. So, we are presenting you the second and last one. Did you know that fever sometimes is caused by anger? Stress as a result of anger can cause psychogenic fever, where patients develop a high fever up to 41 degrees Celsius when they are exposed to emotional events like intense anger. This type of fever is caused by no inflammatory diseases, and according to last 2015, this is a problem for both patients and physicians, for it has no abnormal finding to account for their high temperature, and no antipyretic drugs can reduce their fever. In conclusion, the findings of the study suggest that indeed anger and the immune system are intertwined elements. The more frequent a person welcomes anger into his or her system, the more damaging effects to the body may arise. Now, what can we do to avoid this? Do you know any secrets to a long, healthy, and happy life? Well, simply thinking positive is a lot easier said than done. So we really have to identify concrete ways of taking care of our health holistically. I remember once that I read that getting enough sleep, exercising, and taking time for yourself is very important to manage your cortisol levels. I also think that relaxation and meditation techniques are helpful to get a grip of our strong, overwhelming negative emotions and handle them effectively. If necessary, counseling may also be considered. But most importantly, help your immune system boost its strength by avoiding cigarette smoking, alcoholism, and unbalanced diet. And don't forget to take your vitamins daily and to drink plenty of water. Now we've come to the end of our presentation. I hope that you have come this far. Once again, I am Princess Grace A. Maghanoy, and in behalf of my group mates, Gicil, Barbac, and Korean Abejuela, we sincerely thank you for listening. We hope that you have learned a lot helpful things from our study. And if you have time, please do like and share this video. It won't just be helping us, consider it as spreading awareness regarding the physiological effects of anger. That is all. Goodbye and take care of yourself, and your immune system will be good to you.